Ladles and jelly spoons, welcome to Beeps to Bangers, where we look at the music that we adored, hummed or sang along to as we explored our favourite video game worlds. You're right, Ulf. I think, what's his name, left his instrument here. Ah, yes, I'll be sure Mr. B from
Mr. B's ukulele channel. I hope you enjoy the videos and songs that I've put together for you.
Gets that back. I've got some good news, guys, because I know just the chap to play this thing, and he's chosen the first game that we're going to look at this week. Yes, you know him, I know him, he's our resident ukulele playing teacher.
Hey guys, I'm back. Welcome to Beeps to Bangers, looking at the music behind some of our favourite games. Today we're talking about Sonic R, also known as Sonic Racing. Released in 1997 for the PC and Sega Saturn, it was developed by Traveller's Tales and published by Sega as part of the Sonic the Hedgehog series. Unlike other racing games of the time, Sonic R had characters racing on foot across colourful 3D tracks instead of driving karts.
Sonic R is a racing game with single player and multiplayer modes in which you can choose from a list of characters including Sonic, Tails, Knuckles and Amy, with unlockable characters including Dr. Robotnik, Metal Sonic, Puppet Tails, Metal Knuckles, Egg Robo and Super Sonic. To unlock Puppet Tails, Metal Sonic, Metal Knuckles and Egg Robo, you must collect the 5 Sonic tokens that are hidden on each racetrack. Once you've done this, you need to finish in the top 3 places within each race so that you gain the opportunity to beat each respective unlockable character in a one-on-one race. Now then, did you know that Sonic R features 5 different tracks? Resort Island, Radical City, Regal Ruin, Reactive Factory and Radiant Emerald. Each track has its own featured song, providing a dance or rave style soundtrack that, fits the level perfectly. And this gives players a chance, to throw out some shapes and dance moves, like Big Fish, Little Fish, Cardboard Box or wherever, whilst playing game.
Did you know that there's more than one way to complete each track? Look for the shortcuts. So the first track, Resort Island, features the song Can You Feel the Sunshine?
Right, Sonic R's music were composed by old Richard Jacques. He also created music for other Sonic titles, including Sonic 3D Blast and the old Sonic Boom series. Another one of Jacques' most appreciated works, here in the Orbital Broadcast Bunker, Britain's first and only airborne subterranean studio, I'll have you know, is of course the brilliant Jet Set Radio. As well as released on Sega Saturn, Sonic R also released later on the PC, GameCube and PlayStation 2. Sonic R places a real emphasis on exploration, allowing players to find Sonic tokens, but also emeralds that are located in each track. Now, if a player locates all 7 emeralds, they'll unlock the opportunity to play as Super Sonic by simply pressing the up button on the character select screen while selecting Sonic himself. To unlock the final track, Radiant Emeralds, you must place first in all other races in the game, and then Dr. Robotnik can be unlocked by finishing first in the Radiant Emerald race.
Arguably the most popular song from this game is Super Sonic Racing. It's a fan favourite track that was, as recently as 2024, was performed as part of the Sonic Symphony World Tour at the Hammersmith Apollo in London on September the 28th. Richard Jacques performed songs like Can You Feel the Sunshine, Living in the City, and you guessed it of course, Super Sonic Racing. Jacques was joined by vocalist TJ Davis, who originally provided the vocals for the songs in the game.
Now then, Richard Jacques began composing music for the game in March in 1997. He was working with Sega Europe at the time, so he travelled to Japan to meet with Sonic creator Yuji Naka to discuss the musical approach for the game. Now, first song written for the game were obviously Super Sonic Racing, which were featured at E3 alongside the reveal at the game itself. Naka enjoyed TJ Davis's vocals so much that they asked for TJ to be featured in all the tracks within the game.
It makes me feel so free, so alive. It makes me want to survive. And the sky.
Jacques wrote all the lyrics for the songs with the intention that they would complement the on-screen action while still being appealing to anyone who had never actually played the game. The tracks were recorded and programmed at Sega Digital Studios and then refined over 2 weeks at Metropolis Studios in London. Jacques stated that creating the music for Sonic R was one of the most challenging experiences of his career because the music had to mean something.
The Saturn version of Sonic R received mixed reviews from critics at the time of its release. However, retrospective reviews have been more negative. Sonic R's visuals were seen as its strongest feature, and it was felt that the game had very little pop or bad glitches in its performance. Next Generation hailed the game as the most visually outstanding Saturn title for its use of transparency effects and the reflective surfaces.
In the game, players have the option to listen to the music on each racetrack with or without the vocals. An official soundtrack CD was released on January 21st, 1998, and the music can now be found on all major streaming platforms. Just search for Sega Sound Team, Richard Jacques, or Sonic R itself. Sega Saturn magazine described the music as controversial due to the inclusion of vocals, which drew criticism online at the time. Although he wasn't a fan of dance music, Nutter conceded that all of the tracks were better than most chart music and stated that the instrumental versions were good enough to appeal to everyone. Not everyone agreed though. GameSpot believed the music gave the game a distinct personality, while Allgame called the soundtrack one of the most inspired they've ever heard.
Aye, Sega Saturn magazine praised the game for its multiplayer mode. It maintained the same graphical quality and speed as its single player counterpart. The game's level design were also praised at the time. The tracks were some of the most well-designed tracks ever. Shockingly though, Sonic R's soundtrack proves divisive amongst critics. Now then lad, the game has got some pretty remarkable music in it, that's fair to say, but do you ever stop to consider that Sonic's arch nemesis Mario has had better soundtracks throughout the years?
Well, I think it's a fair argument, Pat, and I think both fan bases could argue equally that they've both got the better soundtracks.
Speak for yourself.
If you've made it this far into the video, thank you so much for watching, and please consider liking, subscribing, and of course sharing with your nearest and dearest.
And of course, you know, why don't you let us know in the comment section down below which you think has got the better soundtrack. Songs from Sonic R's soundtrack were later included in games featuring Sonic, either in their original forms or as remixes. These games include Super Smash Bros. Brawl, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, Sonic Generations, Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing, and of course Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing Transformed. Now, I know what you've been thinking, and sadly no, Sonic R does not appear in the book 1001 Video Games You Must Play Before You Die by that fantastic editor of Edge magazine, Tony Mott. However, we here at the channel think the game is definitely worth diving into.
This game holds a special place in my heart. The soundtrack has stuck with me since I was a little N-Gage. While some aspects of the gameplay can feel a little bit clunky, the music and exploration elements for each track, they more than make up for it.
Before we go, a final thank you to everyone for watching this video, and a thank you to N-Gage for writing the whole thing. Let us know in the comments down below which video game soundtrack you'd like us to cover next, and in the meantime, N-Gage, hit it.
Hitting it.